You're listening to Enjoy It While It Lasts, and this is the Weekly Newsish. Today we talked about the giant underground spiderweb that has been discovered, the northern lights being visible across the U.S., the challenge to the same-sex marriage being rejected to be heard by the Supreme Court. We give an update on the government shutdown. Tricia presents the story of a young man that survived incurable brain cancer, tells us an update on the Netflix house in Dallas about to open up. I tell her and celebrate about Nico Harrison being gone and the McRib being back. Another boo is that THC consumables are about to get banned in Texas. And Tricia wraps us up with a couple of crazy stories out of Waco. I hope you get a little bit of information and a lot of enjoyment. Let's go.
I was asking her yesterday, I was like, do you think you've been good this year? Like, you think Santa's going to get you something this year? She's like, no. Well, this is the first time. I was like, why you say no? She's like, I don't think I've been good this year. Because she's been having some attitudes.
Man.
To the point I've gotten to a cheek grab a couple times where, not like I'm not grabbing her or nothing, but like when you put your hands on their cheeks.
Like, you're not going to move you're looking at me.
Like the horse blinders.
Yeah.
Like, look at me.
Yeah.
Listen, this is important. We've had to do that a few times because she gets off the walls a little bit. And I'm starting to kind of realize, don't give your kids caffeine. Fuck you, I got an ADHD kid and I know how to deal with it. So I've noticed that actually, caffeine, just like with me, it kind of calms you down. Uh-huh. It kind of brings you to the back level. I can drink a cup of coffee and go night-night so nicely.
Same. I tried that with Gabby Alvar. It did not work. That trick didn't work with her. Well, we tried like a weaker coffee with her, and it gave her, it backfired.
So there's two different types of ADHD. It's like,
sure,
the hyper part is different levels in people. Uh-huh. So some kids, it's just like medication. Some kids react differently to stimulants, where if you give them a stimulant, they get mean or they get hyper like a normal kid. And then other kids, you give them a stimulant and they're like, oh,
and it works the way the way you think it will.
Yeah, it feels like you just smoked a little J. You're like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
Which I won't ever tell her that, but that's I'm like, I got you, girl. Let's see if this works. But because I don't want to put her on. So
coffee has worked for you with her.
It has, yeah. Okay. Well, so she'll pop a coffee and she gets a little jumpy at first, but then she mellows out relatively quickly.
Okay.
And I've done the same thing. I actually did it on accident the first time, and I was like, we've been good.
Stumbled
today.
onto something here.
Like, maybe put this in my arsenal. And I've noticed with her, like, sweet tea is her like crack. Becca will drink sweet tea with anything. Uh-huh. And it's so much better for her than soda and stuff like that, we just need to dial back the sugar, which she really likes it kind of the sugar weak anyway. Yeah. But that helped a lot. And I'm trying to figure out different ways for her to determine the difference between attitude, where she's trying to be an asshole, or she's just trying to get a point across and she's hype. Because I have that same problem even socially now. Yeah. Where I'll be like, no, it's like this. And they're like, quit fucking yelling at me. And I'm like, no, my bad. I'm not yelling at you.
Like, I'm excited.
I'm just invested. This is fucking amazing, Yeah. So I noticed that with her actually last night too. I was doing her hair and I don't even remember what the fucking story is. And she was like, no, it's like this. And Skylar was like, hey, man, bring it down a little bit. Like, watch your tone. And I was like, no, she's just, she's just hype. Yeah. She's just a little hype.
Man. We're here with the Weekly Newsish. I'm Herman Faust.
I'm Tricia.
And we're going to start off today with you presenting. You have a couple global stories for us.
Yeah. I think it's really cool what's going on around the world right now. We got the Northern Lights. They're a lot lower than usual. Mm-hmm. And, they've been talking about on the news a lot lately where we could essentially help repair our ozone. Mm-hmm. And so now this is kind of like some of the effects of that. We're actually getting an ozone layer back. We're starting to have those chemical reactions that are in the sky with the gases a little lower than they normally would be. And last night was the first one, and they're saying tonight.
It's supposed to be clear tonight,
It's supposed to be clear tonight, yeah. So I'm hoping Like last night, I saw a bunch of pictures of it where if you had your camera, you could see it through camera lens or something with the refraction of the light. So you couldn't really see it with naked eye. Mm-hmm. But even as high as like in Dallas, they had them with their cameras up, and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful, just like something you'd see in Alaska through the camera lens. And then tonight, it's supposed to be, if you're in the area, if you well, this will be tomorrow. But tonight, which is Wednesday, they're supposed to have it between 6 and 9 p.m. So I'm gonna go outside. See what I can look.
Did you look outside yesterday at all to see if you could see?
It was too dark.
Okay.
It was too dark.
Yeah, I wasn't. Are you clear on what it is that is making it visible here now? Like,
I think it's honestly just weather.
Okay.
It has a big factor to it that it's actually, we have a decent clear like view of it.
Okay.
Any other time we've always had some kind of storm coming in or out when the sun sets just right during this time of year, where we don't really get any chance of seeing those things, Okay,
so it is something to where at this particular, like, there's a couple of days a year where if things line up right, mm-hmm. It'll be able to. Okay.
It
just haven't had things line up right for us.
Yeah, I think the last time they said they were able to see the northern lights past or in Oklahoma or above Oklahoma or below Oklahoma was in the 1800s. Which, I mean, who's got a damn record of that? Somebody just probably wrote some shit down like, the sky looks really cool tonight. It's a bunch,
Yeah.
We don't actually have like the video or the photographic proof of that either. That's just a record of when they said that they had it before. So that's awesome. And I was looking on there. They said they found the biggest spider web of all time, or recorded.
Yeah.
That we found it before. It's like underwater cave.
Yeah, I've seen some. This I've seen a little bit more about.
Yeah, and it's so big that it touches Greece and Albany. It's like smack down in the border there.
Yeah.
It's literally in 2 different countries. I know that it doesn't have to be that big to technically be in 2 different countries, but
but this one actually is big.
This one actually is big. It's a football field. It's 100 square meters, so it's even bigger than a football field a little bit, And I just thought that was insane to even imagine. They had it like compared to buildings and stuff, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. And you can go online and see the pictures, mm-hmm. and it is massive, and it's dense. And
that's the thing too. Like the pictures I've seen, even it seems like there's layers of it, because you see like this outside layer of web. But I didn't see any, at least in the video that I saw and the picture I saw, I didn't see any spiders. Okay, because they're all in the web.
In the web.
Yeah.
They're like hiding. Like you got to think like it's a spider web. The light's coming through that mug, and they're like. But yeah, like you mentioned it being dense, and there's layers and layers of webbing, and there's I think I forget the estimates, but definitely thousands and thousands of spiders. 110,000 spiders in this thing from 2 different species.
That was the part that also caught my attention. That it's not just one species; it's 2 different species cohabiting there.
Yeah, they said that they had never heard of these 2 species ever cohabiting before, but that this damn web was so massive that they got plenty of room to run around in, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It reminded me of some shit I saw off like 8-Legged Freaks when it was the spider web was completely enclosed the cave and you had to get through it.
Yeah.
But it was so massive, and it stuck out along this wall and literally covered its own cavern cave.
That movie, and then also the part in Lord of the Rings where they go in through the caving system.
But I can feel it already.
I had both of those. I had both of those movies pop in my head whenever I was looking at the pictures of it. Just like how imagine just that would be your if somebody like drugged you and you woke up there like, oh shit, what the fuck am I at?
I would die of fear. Immediately heart attack, because I already am not cool with spiders at all.
Same. That's what I talked about. Like whenever we did our fear episode, that's one of the few. That's like my irrational fear of spiders. So that would be if I wake up there, I'm just like, oh my, what the hell?
Yeah, it wouldn't matter anymore. It wouldn't matter if I was like right on the edge of town or if I had like a safety net or anything like that. I would die as soon as I woke up and saw that shit. I'm like, nope.
Just put yourself out.
Because in my mind, there's a mama in there somewhere that's like bigger than me.
That's what we all imagine. We're like, okay, I see all these thousands of spiders around me, but I'm still waiting for the big one that's coming.
I'm waiting for mama.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to die immediately because wrap me up. I don't want to be stuck in the damn web waiting to be eaten by your babies and shit. No. Sci-fi trauma at its finest. But, that fucking cartoon with Bugs Bunny. Anyway, okay, where he's getting wrapped up in the spider in his dream.
I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, it's one of the cartoons. They're getting wrapped up and they're getting spun up by a spider and stuck in a web, and everything's coming to eat them. Yeah, that's what's going on in the world.
A little bit closer to us, I saw that recently the Supreme Court has decided not to hear the case of same-sex marriages being challenged by. This is the challenge that was brought by the. I had her name. Christy Davis, I think, was her name.
Yep.
The Kim Davis. I'm sorry, Kim Davis,
yeah.
the county clerk that is fighting, saying that it was against her religious beliefs to be part or certify.
She was essentially refusing to even do the practices or sign any kind of certificates marrying people.
Exactly, and she basically was trying to make it to where. The challenge was basically making it to where if you have if you're religiously opposed to basically any ruling, that you would be then kind of free to just deny services to people.
Right.
This one got dismissed without even being heard, so that's like a
thank God
minor win for okay, we're not going. There's just not enough here to let. We're basically not going to let a one court clerk challenge the Supreme Court.
Amen.
However, there still is a lot of unwariness, I guess, because there's a lot of other possibilities of challenges being brought up to the court.
There's also the aspect of money that I think is going to save it. And I know that sucks that that's kind of the way it's being put. But, like, do you realize how much money has been generated just by LGBTQ being able to be married to whoever they want to be married to? Mm-hmm. You're going to lose all that money from people coming and getting married and getting that ruling and filing those licenses. And what about the people who are married?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like what would happen to
now? Are you just not going to recognize the marriage, or is this an ongoing forward? And the people who got married in time are cool, and that's how they'd have to have it. Because if not, now you got a whole different issue on your hands about wanting your money back. Essentially, like, hey, I was married and now I'm not, so now I got to do this amount of money to get all my assets separated again, and you need to pay for that.
Yeah, I don't. This is one of the issues that I feel that I am not too worried about, like it falling back the same way that abortion fell back.
Right.
I just think that there's not even people that are more religious and more on the conservative side aren't picking this battle as much anymore.
They don't give a shit.
Because
who gives a shit? If you want to be married and be miserable like the rest of us, then go ahead.
But there still is enough of. But there have been different groups though that have put together positions and put together different challenges to try to make it state law again that. To take away the protection, so that there still is those cases are still going to push forward and try to do what this one didn't do.
So you're saying that we're going to do exactly what we always do as a country, and we're going to make one move that says, "Hey, let's do this," and we're going to get it voted, and everybody's going to be happy about it, and they're going to say, "Wait."
Yeah, because then everybody that voted against it was like,
piss people off again.
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Because one side can't get along with the other, so it's a constant battle to get anything done around here.
The more the part of the government news that is more affecting us all today is we have moving towards ending the government shutdown. Finally, it's currently now has passed. It's the longest government shutdown we've ever had. Mm-hmm. Several Democrats broke against the party lines and voted to go ahead and pass the provisional restart to restart negotiations. The reason I say they broke against party wishes was they never got their
part of the deal in,
which was the protections of subsidies for the Affordable Health Care Act,
right?
Which this is one of those things where it's going to be a short term. In the short term, it might make things a little bit easier for people again once the government starts running again and people start getting paid. But what's going to end up happening is since they didn't get that protection, there's going to be another vote in December, and if that vote goes against this, which it's expecting to, a lot of insurance premiums are going to end up skyrocketing in 2026, and
really
people
crazy.
are going to be able to be denied again coverage like they used to be.
So I was literally looking at my insurance literally like a month ago, and I got a letter from. I'm one of the few people who actually goes through the healthcare.gov marketplace, right? Neither one of our employers offer insurance. So we have to do that to be able to go and get insurance because we can't get it through our employer. Or we would have to go through each individual insurance company.
Yeah.
And essentially, the way that I look at it and a way that a lot of other people look at it is it's a shopping center for insurances. And it actually does help you figure out what you need and what you're willing to pay for and what you're not. Because there's so many places now like Ally and these different places like Lemonade and things like that where you can go and get your car insurance and they do the shopping for you and tell you what you can afford and what your best plan is and stuff like that. So I don't really see the big difference in it as far as that goes, except for the fact that it helps you if you have a pre-existing condition. You know what I mean? But
that's the main, and then also, it gives a centralized, centralized location basically is what you're saying for everybody to shop. Because otherwise, you would have to do what you described of going insurance, and that right. As somebody who I've looked into what it would cost to get insurance for myself, if I didn't want to stay on my wife's insurance, and found out obviously it's probably not. Better.
If you get it through your employer, they get so many discounts that it does make it more affordable to usually go through your employer.
Well, that's
for families anyway.
Yeah, that's the trade off there is that because of my health issues, we have to get a higher level of insurance than she would have to get for herself.
Right.
But either way, it still ends up. But my point was going to be that I've had a little bit of recent experience going through different insurance companies and seeing how easily it is to still be rejected based off of just prior health issues.
Right.
And then two, just how complicated it's made and now I'll say all this, the Affordable Care, the ACA like website and everything, that's not going to change. And what's possibly going to be taken away is the different subsidies that the government pays to these insurance companies to where it makes it affordable. Cheaper for the people, which is the whole point of it. Yeah. So that you'll still have that centralized hub, but then what you're going to be seeing is all the prices on there are going to go way up than what they are today.
Right, and that's what I was getting at. I got a literal letter in the mail from healthcare.gov saying your insurance premium is going to be like very much more.
Yeah,
it was like it's going to be a significant price increase. And I was like, oh fuck. Like, and this is before the thing even goes through. They're already telling us, like, it's going to go up no matter what. They're having to raise it now because at the end of the day, they got to get ready, like, when it does. Another
part, like Medicare and Medicaid funding is also going to get cut back. It's not obviously being eliminated, but just every little cutback, it takes anybody who was on the fringe of getting help, you're not going to get help anymore. And it pushes more people closer to the fringe.
Right.
So we're just making all this, so...
baby stepping it out.
Yeah, it basically
of just cutting it completely.
Basically, the administration got what they wanted by stalling this by having this government shutdown because they got the agreement to move forward with these plans of cutting the budget like that.
Right, and I mean, at the end of the day, like you got these people who this is why people don't have medical insurance. That's that's really what it is because nobody can afford the medical insurance and. The people who can, of course, they have it through their employees and stuff like that. But unless you're getting it through your employer, at the end of the day, you won't have it at all.
Exactly.
And right now, I remember, back in the 90s, it was a huge deal. Like, you can go to the emergency room, and if you didn't have insurance, you'd sit there at the back of the line for hours, days, however long it took you because you came in there because you had nowhere else to go. So you went to the emergency room that is not supposed to be for your common fucking cold.
Yeah, but were people forced to do that?
They were forced to do that because they couldn't have a primary care physician because they didn't have insurance for it, and nobody would take it out of pocket because at the end of the day, they know nobody in their right mind is going to be able to pay out of pocket costs for all the things that they need to get tested for and get care for.
Yeah.
So if they don't have an insurance, they won't even take you because they know that you're not going to be able to foot the fucking bill at the end of the day. I went to the ER 2 weeks ago and I have insurance. I have Baylor Scott and White insurance and I went to fucking Scott and White, okay? And I had an emergency at the emergency room, and they charged me $1,000 after my insurance for one day. That was the first time I had gone all year.
That's why, because I hadn't used it. You haven't used it yet, so you hadn't paid any deductible or out of pocket price yet. Which that's a whole nother.
I had paid my copay, but the whole like you said, that's a whole nother.
That's a whole like long episode working on how the insurance works and pricing of medication works. Just
and how
because,
they screw you.
Yeah, because it's definitely inflated way past the point of being able to have any individual take care of themselves if they get sick. It's made to where if we're going to price things the way we are and allow things to be priced the way we do, we're pretty much forcing it to where the only way we can get healthcare is if we make it to where we could have universal. If we wanted it to be paid out of pocket for only the people who are sick paying for it, well then we should probably need to make it affordable. So right now the government still it's closer to being reinstated, but all these people not being paid are still not being paid as of right now.
Right.
And I think that it fits right along with all of the rhetoric and just misinformation that has been out there about the cause of the government shutdown. Whenever you see the president Donald Trump getting on his social media and
on his soapbox
calling out people who are taking days off from being air traffic, like specifically air traffic controllers,
right,
and people that are already overworked. They are already understaffed before the government shutdown started.
Before the government shutdown, and
they were short like I think 3,000 employees short of what they feel like they need to have to be running before a shutdown starts.
Right.
So now the people who have been working at this point going on over a month. We are past the month of no pay that have either you're starting to get more, I guess, call-ins or more planned time off of people there's still the majority of air traffic controllers have still been working through this, but there have been more that have started to take days off because they're not getting paid.
Well, I mean, bro, if you got 2 weeks of PTO,
that plus, and
you done hit your 2 weeks of not getting paid, wouldn't you take your PTO so you know you got at least one paycheck in the midst of all this shit?
That plus the idea of just like, hey, well, I've been spending my days doing these side jobs that I have to do to get money now, or I had to spend one whole day jumping through the hoops of applying for a loan to get me through.
The loans that aren't even getting approved right now because they don't know when your next income's coming in. So why would they give you an approval for a loan?
Well, and there are actually
they are some of them, but I'm saying like a typical loan place, like a payday loan.
Well, what I was gonna say is there's a few like set up specifically for these type of employees now.
Right.
But that still is a whole. If you've ever had to sign up for any kind of loan for any reason, it takes hours first off of your time, and if somebody decided to take the day off of work that I'm not getting paid for to do this, I can't blame them for it. But but then what Trump comes out basically saying that he's gonna he implies that the people who aren't working full time and overtime without getting paid
will not get checks.
They're basically getting blacklisted, and they're not gonna. He's promising to give this giant $1,000 bonus, or was it 10? I mean, it was a $10,000 bonus
incentive for you to stay and work for free like a damn slave.
Which basically is just a empty promise. I could say,
you can't approve that just off of fucking Twitter, bro. Yeah, you can't say, oh, you know what? And by the way,
just like
I got 10 G's.
What happened to the $2,000 check that every U.S. citizen was supposed to get?
That's still all over my Facebook.
There's
people
all
keep
these
sending it to me like, is this real? Is this real? Because they know I research this crazy shit. And I'm like, baby, no. I'll believe it when it shows up.
But he keeps saying it and doubling down on the lie.
Off of the tariffs.
That's where we're going to get the money
from tariffs. That's what's all over Facebook right now.
Just as a simple, and that's just simply to say, oh, you think this is bad? Well, what if I gave you money for it?
What if I gave you $2,000 to shut the fuck up and go back to work?
Or what if I just tell you I'm going to give you $2,000?
Yeah, I'm just going to tell you this so you got something to talk about. So while you're working.
That's the same shit that the air traffic controllers are going through now. Yes. They're like, here, no, I'll give you $10,000 if you stay. And if you don't stay, well, you're got a mark. The way he worded it, like you got a mark, at least in my book.
Yeah, I'm mad. I'm gonna be real mad if you don't get back to work.
Like, okay, sir, I'll listen to you now because all of a sudden you're telling me I should do it.
Why don't you take that National Guard and take the masses out there to the airport and see if they can do that fucking job for a day. They got some better shit to do, I'm sure, with the damn immigrants. But let's take them out here. Let's see how they do out there.
Yeah.
Let's see how many plane crashes we got to worry about with that shit going on.
Ben, that was part of because of the like travel has slowed down quite a bit in the U.S.
Well, you saw that shit I sent you. The DFW airport had shut down for an entire day. And the only thing they were taking were commercial flights. If it was a non-commercial flight, they did not fly that day because they didn't have the staff to staff both. And so they only did the one that gave them more money out the situation, which I totally agree with, but that's what we're working with right now. That's one of the biggest airports in the entire nation.
And that was just even if you look outside that one day part, like they've cut back
so much.
About a quarter of flights leaving.
Period.
And it's not even just the air traffic controllers in the airport that getting them taken off. It's because of all the nationwide ones that actually controlling the flight paths. There's not enough workers right now, so they have to cut back the amount of planes in the air.
At Waco, now this is Waco Regional Airport, okay? They maybe have like 8 flights a fucking day.
Yeah.
All right. They stopped. They do not do right now, and this was like an indefinite on their website. They did not take any Waco to DFW flights at all right now. They will not do it because they had a contract, some contract with DFW that when they didn't do the commercial flights anymore, Waco was like, okay, so they couldn't go to DFW, and that was like their main hub was going Waco to DFW. So they shut down over half of their planes in the air per day by just not going DFW anymore.
Just by that, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they had that many flights from Waco to DFW.
Maybe like 8 a day, 10 a day. Not much. It's all regional though. It's all like, they're not as big airplanes. We don't even have that many airplanes at Waco Airport. Maybe like 4.
Another side detail of the proposition that is the passing of the proposed budget to get the government restarted is the closing of a loophole that has been allowing states to sell THC products derived from hemp. Mm-hmm. And Texas, specifically North Texas, has had a huge boom in that market lately. There's been a ton of retailers that start selling products. There's some certain stores that they've made their whole store the products based off of that. Yep. And there was even a law in Texas that passed the law, but Governor Abbott vetoed the law, trying to ban this before. Now it's going to be a federal law that's going to ban all THC from in any forms. Yeah. So that is also going to be a little. It's weird to me that that's a little impact. That seems to have nothing to do with anything else, but it's thrown in as a part of...
cover it up quick. We'll cover it up with all these big things. And, oh, by the way, we're going to take away... Don't take people's weed out. Listen to me. You don't want the potheads to wake up.
Meanwhile,
you want them high and at home and eating shit. You do not want them getting motivated.
Mostly every state is getting more and more, like, allowing for THC and for marijuana.
Yeah, meanwhile, Texas is cracking down on it.
Meanwhile, we're going to... ban the little loopholes that we do have. It's
just going to be a rebranding like it was last time, though. Essentially, that's kind of what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if I got this THC CBD product and you tell me I can't tell THC no more, I might change a label, homie, and just say CBD in it.
Well, that's the way that they that was part of it. But it's going to close that. Like, it's going to. Part of the crackdown is the percentage of THC that's allowed per bottle of things sold. So it won't necessarily matter if you can't just relabel it like in this way. You'll have to.
But you can put like Delta, and then as long as the THC percentage is low enough.
But that is it's lowering it to a point of like where even people who were able to like any of these products you were able to buy and consume beforehand, they're going to be past the threshold basically. Like it's not. There's no, there's not going to be any CBD with THC.
You're going to have to hit up Mikey.
You're going to have to just go.
Where's Mikey at? I ain't talked to him in about 10 years. Shit, they done fucked up the THC. Hey, maybe people will be able to pay their bills now. Because they can, because
I'm sure that's what people have been doing.
I stopped working at the traffic control and I just went back to selling weed. Because I got my old plug back since it's illegal now. Fuck it. Oh, that's ridiculous. So this little boy, I don't want to say his name out there because he's still technically in remission, but he is cleared out and it is technically cured. The first boy to ever be cured of hydrocephalus, which is brain cancer. He's 13. He was 13 in 2018 when they first found this.
He was 13 when he was diagnosed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now he's grown. Jesus, he's grown now. That's crazy. So it was so quick and it was so onset that by the time they found it, it was already stage 2. So it wasn't stage 4 or anything like that. And this was a younger kid, so he did have, a lot more energy and things like that. He did have a lot of good things going for him in his life. And besides the cancer, he was very, very healthy. But this type of brain cancer and this tumor has always been inoperable.
That was the thing I saw about it. The main thing is just that it was previously classified as untreatable, basically.
Untreatable, and you usually had about 6 months to a year to live from finding it, even in stage 2. And they put in a shunt. Essentially, the very first thing they did was put in a shunt in where the brain meets the spine, kind of as a draining unit to be able to get that fluid out of that tumor and things like that. So even without it being inoperable, they were doing these small surgeries to make sure that they could downsize this tumor, even if they couldn't go in and actually take it out from the brain, essentially, which was really cool. He had 3 different surgeries with the same method within 3 months. So it was very, very aggressive with the treatment that they did for him.
Like draining the fluid?
Draining the fluid, and then essentially the end game was creating a drain for itself, too. That way it wouldn't be something they had to keep going in and in. So it was very, very innovative for them to be able to make something that kind of was an ongoing drain without draining out essentially his brain and spinal fluid, which was awesome, and then he had radiation, chemotherapy, and he was also taking medication with the chemotherapy in it as well. And it was very radical, and I give him every thumbs up that I can give any kind of kid to ever go through anything that he went through, because once you click on it and you actually start going through the story, it is terrifying in every sense of the word. But he's a trooper, and it is gone. It's not that the tumor is flattened out. It's not that it's downsized. This tumor is gone. They have no scan of it. They've done every scan in the world to try to find it, and it is non-existent, which is amazing to me.
Well, besides the operations you described, were they, like, I'm guessing they were just trying different known cancer medication treatments for him as well?
No, it was like hitting this thing from every side. He was taking the oral medications that are considered chemotherapy. So when you get cancer and you do a chemotherapy, there are 2 different types of chemotherapy.
Sure.
There's the medication one where it's either oral pills or it's you going in and getting intravenous, the IVs of the chemotherapy, right? And then there's the radiation therapy, which is essentially still an IV, but it has that radioactive that it is supposed to be targeted to kill that kind of cell. It's kind of like this. I don't know, this is going to be a horrible analogy, and you people are so much smarter than I am, but this is why I do it this way. But essentially to me, they have to make a certain potion that is just for this one type of cancer and this one type of tumor, which they've never been able to do before.
Yeah.
So they were like sitting there like mad science experiment and doing this shit for this baby, which was amazing that they could actually get it to work. While he was also taking the pills and doing the radioactive intravenous and doing the surgery to get it drained out. Because when you do radioactive chemotherapy, you're not only killing tumor cells.
Sure, yeah, you're killing lots of... There's a reason that chemotherapy is hard on people. Right.
And your brain being where that shit's going to and heading for is insane. And he did have a moment for a while where he wasn't able to... he could talk, but it was like kind of like when you have a stroke and it's not firing all ends. You can't have word recognition, and it's hard for you to come up with a word and things like that, associations. Yeah. So he did have moments like that he has recovered from, which is really cool too. They say that kids are the miracles in medicine 1,000%, and I think this is super cool.
So at this point, he doesn't have any long-term cognitive problems with it.
He is going once a month, and he goes on his own. It's not like, they set up an appointment. And Lord knows I would be the same way. I'd be going up in that motherfucker every other day. I felt something funny, But he goes in every month and gets a scan. Everything's been clear since it's been there. And it's been now it's a monthly scan, and he had to have 6 months of completely free scans for it to be considered cured.
Yeah.
So he's finally technically now cured.
Is it what they learned on his case, is that repeatable for others?
That's what they're thinking.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're thinking. They're saying, the issue now is just going to be if somebody's able to handle the aggressive on them.
Yeah, because he was partly, like you mentioned, a lot of things in his favor for being able to handle that.
Right.
Good health, being young age, and everything
and
like that.
And it being stage 2 when they found it.
Yeah.
They're not going to sit here and make promises for a stage 4, 60-year-old patient that they just found out about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But considering that it was stage 2 and it was already the size of a golf ball in his brain and it was able to be gone, that's amazing.
It's definitely big progress from something being classified as incurable. Yeah.
And that was at Johns Hopkins, if y'all want to look that up. And, you never hear about the cool stuff in medicine no more. And I just think that's cool to be able to, say that out,
Yeah.
As far as the entertainment world goes, there's a podcast that I love. It's called Shits and Gigs. I don't know if they'll ever hear this, but I hope they do. James and Fuhat are amazing. They're these guys from London, and they've been friends forever. I've mentioned them to you a couple times, where it's a group of 4 guys that, 5 now, that it's like a core set, but James and Fuhat are usually the speakers. Okay. You know what I mean? And they kind of do their own thing. And they kind of do a weekly catch-up, and then they have, they're just hilarious. They do a reacts. They talk about the shit going on in the world. They talk about relationships and different things like that. And they've gotten so big to where they've actually sold out tours and stuff now. And they came to America a couple years back, and they went to Atlanta. And I was so fucking mad. Man, I wanted to go to that shit. And I didn't hear about it until after the fact that they had already been here and gone.
Okay.
Well, they're coming. They just announced it 3 days ago that they're coming to Austin. And if I can figure this shit out, I'm going.
When are they going?
They're going in April.
Okay, so
I got time. The tickets don't go on sale. I think they went on sale today.
Okay.
I think they went on sale today. So I'm going to go and look and see what the price is looking like.
Austin is close enough, too, to be a day trip.
Yeah. You got to think, we're in the middle of Dallas and Austin.
It's even closer to you. Yeah, you don't even need to plan a night. You could plan to drive home the same night even.
Not that. Not that. I don't know how long this is going. I'm getting a hotel for sure. But it'll be fun. And then the other thing I had is the Netflix house. They are dropping theirs on the 14th for the early access tickets. And I'm super excited about that because they just announced the Stranger Things is completed. So it's going to be a Stranger Things escape room.
Okay. And
then it's going to be a Squid Game. I think it's 6 games that you get to kind of go through and see if you can make it through without dying and get the tournament trophy or whatever,
Yeah.
And then they're going to have a virtual reality, the floor is lava grid, which I think is going to be awesome for the kiddos too, to see if they can, make it through the obstacle course without falling in the lava and shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to have a food court. It's going to be beast, and it's going to be open in December. So
I know you told me whenever you first learned, a little while back about it, but so at this point, I'm expecting you to be one of the first people in there.
Yeah, these are the ones I'm counting down are the early access tickets.
Okay.
Because my thing is, I might not be one of the first people in there. If they come out and say, it's $200, I'm like, bitch, you know what I mean? Because I'm not going to pay $200 to be standing in there like a sardine. I'll wait until the new wears off and then go. But if they pop off with it's $60, yeah, I'll definitely pay $60 for a 3-tier entertainment and that's a whole day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a whole event.
Yeah.
They got food and stuff there too. I'd probably end up spending the night there too. That night, just come back the next morning, and get drunk and play the floor is lava. That sounds great.
Yeah, you sold it as if for the kids, as if you ain't gonna be climbing with Becca too, jumping.
I'm so ready. I might let them do the Squid Game shit.
You gonna
and just give them advice because I don't want to stomp my baby out or be the reason she dies or something. But the rest of it, yeah, I'm here for it.
Just push her out the way.
The red light, green light, and just fucking make her fall as she turns around. Go back.
So they said only some of us could win. Sorry, gotta be me.
They said there's a $20,000 at the end of this year, bitch. I'm here. I'm knocking all these kids out. But yeah.
to start the look at the DFW. I'm gonna start in sports because the witch is dead. Nico Harrison is gone. The Mavs finally fired him.
Okay, don't hate me. Why is he the witch?
Because he is the mastermind of trading away
Luka,
my baby,
Gotcha.
Luka Doncic. The on the podcast I listened to, he had a really funny analogy. Dan, he said that it's like your kid was killed.
Yeah.
And yeah, we finally after a long investigation, we got the killer. He's being punished.
Okay.
You can feel good about that closure. Now you want to go play with your kid?
Right.
You can't, can you?
You can't, can you?
Like, so that's basically how I feel. Like, I'm really happy to see him finally gone, but it doesn't necessarily like
It doesn't make
me feel hyped about a Mavs fan anymore.
Bring him back.
No, now meanwhile Luka's over there averaging over 35 points a game.
Well, that was going to be my question. Would you? I mean, I'm sure not this season, but would you consider going back and being a Mavs fan now that the witch is dead?
It's hard because the other witch is still there, the owner, and I don't see him selling the team.
Who, Mark?
No, Mark Cuban sold it to the Dumonts, which they're the ones that approved the trade.
Oh, fuck you, Dumont.
If anything, fuck Mark for selling the team in the first place.
Fuck you, Mark, trying to get into free pharmaceuticals. You asshole trying to save the world and shit. What's wrong with you?
You're letting the Mavs die so you can save the world. What's wrong with you?
It was a horrible
priorities.
sacrifice.
But yeah, so I do plan on having. I'm pivoting here because next week on a Tuesday episode, I was gonna do where we talk about different holiday specials that we like. I'm gonna put that one in December because I gotta have a full long episode talking about the impact that Nico has had and why.
Gotcha.
How his legacy is gonna be forever cemented as the person that ruined the Mavs for me.
For a long time.
For a lot of people, I think.
For a lot of people, yeah.
Another a little bit more of a serious story around the DFW area. Apparently, everybody knows how grocery prices are rising. Apparently, it's hitting DFW more than other places. I'm not the why on this part. I'm not. There's not like a solid answer. It's like this the exact reason.
They had said something about the SNAP benefits affecting it as well, which is literally we called it.
Yeah.
We called it like 2 weeks ago when we said that it was going to happen. That the people that are actually buying the groceries, since they're not selling them anymore, are going to have to pay more prices.
And that's part of the reason Dallas is because any major city that has lots of people on SNAP benefits
have a lot of food
are
stamps.
having, and Dallas is one of those cities that falls in that category. So. Definitely, prices are rising in food costs in the DFW area, slightly higher than around the nation.
Yeah.
Another thing that's happening, and it's not directly tied, but it's when you hear it, it's pretty much tied, is that payday loans are rising in the DFW area, far higher than around the nation. Basically, people are having to take out loans on their checks to be able to just
afford
buy the necessities of life. This part of it, I was going to say for the reasons. I was going to mention that part of it is the SNAP benefit issue. Another. I need to get better at my notes.
Not to play devil's advocate. And I don't know if you're going to jump into this, or I know you'll be able to comment on it. So this has always been a higher time of year for payday loans anyway. I know in Waco it definitely is. The guy's out there with the sign like right after Halloween.
Sure.
And it's just because so many people nowadays, my mom used to be one of these people, and so I can attest to this wholeheartedly that my mother believed we made it paycheck to paycheck. My mom went out during Christmas and she got a loan, and that's how she paid for our Christmas. She would get a loan and she would buy our Christmas presents and stuff like that. And then after she had her loan, she would pay it off with her freaking income tax money. Seriously, yeah. I'm not bullshitting. It was like she would get this loan, and sometimes she would even get the loan a little earlier, like in August for our birthdays. And she'd cover our birthdays and Christmas and school supplies. And then with her income tax money, she would pay it back, so she could get another loan when she needed it again, man. And so this time of year, it is a payday loan time of year for people that are doing that, because we don't have layaway no more. We don't have the cushion of being able to go to the store and pay it off over time, because they've already taken that away. So now they're having to go to these payday loans and do it that way with interest.
And and it's more that while the trends this year, you were absolutely right about this time of year, but it's more like if you compare this year versus the last four, it's still higher.
It is definitely higher.
Another reason for it being given is that because just how fast the growth rate is in the DFW area, how fast the population is growing. I mean, way high. It's where we've consistently been as a state, one of the highest states of people moving into it, and DFW has kind of absorbed most of the people that move into the state. It's basically causing all the reasons that people did move here, because lower housing cost, lower cost of living in general, all those are balancing out on the opposite end for us now, to where it's raising the cost of everything basically around, and that's why it's affecting DFW slightly more than other. Although again, every area right now is being impacted in one way or the other by this.
Waco is seeing that as well. Not near to the degree of what Dallas has seen it, of course, but we kind of had that last year, and it's bleeding into this year where and this is going to be ghetto again, the white neighborhoods that have had this old money for a long time are essentially not really being impacted as much as these gentrified sections that they are building now as these white suburban neighborhoods in these horrible neighborhoods that they used to be in. And so the property taxes are shooting up, and everything around us is shooting up, and all of these touristy things that are popping up everywhere that they're cool to do, but it causes people to live there to price up everything else. Even the apartments that used to be all bills paid, instead of them, when I moved to my first apartment that was all bills paid just to get at my mama's house, I paid $4.98 a month. And those exact same apartment complex in the exact same neighborhood with the exact same fucking people in it that are ghetto trashy shits, because I used to be it, or the college kids that are just trying to fucking make it, it's $8.95 for that same 1-bedroom apartment. Yeah. And that's ridiculous. That's more than double, or right about it double what I used to pay it,
Yeah, and then on top, like that part, I've seen that personally with my in-laws' house. Like there's new houses they've had several developers offer to buy their house from them, and on their street, there's new houses that are constructed around them.
Oh yeah, they're trying to get that money.
And they definitely have seen the impact of their taxes getting raised because of things that are being built around them, even though currently it's like kind of half and half. Like if you look around the neighborhood, there's like half of them are brand new, really nice looking houses,
and the people who didn't.
And then there's other houses that are lived in, basically.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a type of cycle that where it eventually forces everybody out that does whether they want to go or not.
Tell them to hold out as long as they can, because that offer goes up every fucking time.
Yeah.
Especially with the housing market the way it is now.
Yeah,
it's just gonna keep going.
That part's true. But
and I know where they live. Like I remember when we went over there, and that's a damn good neighborhood for gentrification. You know what I mean? I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. When they finally buy that house out, I make them pay damn good money for it.
For a while, we were trying to get them to. Before we bought our house, we were trying to get them to sell us their house and let us we were going to tear it down and rebuild it ourselves and and then have them live with us.
Well, it was still a 3-bedroom now, isn't it?
They've turned it into a 4-bedroom.
Oh, okay.
But, okay. Yeah, but either way, the house has a lot of issues where it probably would need to be torn down.
But it's just for the most part, yeah.
Or if not torn down all the way, at least a lot of work done.
Of course, because it's been lived in for so long, though.
But yeah, either way, it's making it harder for them just in their day-to-day lives because of
the taxes,
everything being
around them.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that type of construction in Dallas, specific city limits of Dallas.
Yeah. And in all y'all's areas around it.
Yeah, definitely.
Things that like Cedar Hill, places that used to be I'm not saying real trashy, but a nice trailer home, and people able to go buy the land and build their own home out there. Yeah, and now it's these big suburban cookie cutter homes that they're trying to throw everybody into.
I call them Bluth homes. If you ever watched,
we used to call them the Stepford neighborhoods because the Stepford Wives movie, where they all looked exactly the same and all the wives dressed the same and everybody had the same car.
Did you ever watch Arrested Development?
Yes.
And how all the houses were basically
exactly the same,
but
one
not just
little thing different,
or just even almost. almost hollow, just like not fully functional all the way, because and it just feels like that. Like they're just all, like you mentioned, cookie cutter houses. Like,
yeah, fake fruit, fake. Everything's fake. Yeah.
The bone being thrown to the public around us now, though, is coming from McDonald's.
Yeah, McDonald's coming in clutch.
They're saying, while I don't know that they're gonna necessarily be lowering any prices, they are bringing back the McRib.
They did.
And
you know, McDonald's has actually probably been one of the steadfast price holders. Maybe it's because they're so big they can. But I went and got breakfast the other week, and it was $3. It was for a sausage McMuffin and a hash brown, $3. I was like, holy shit! I done forgot about McDonald's.
Yeah, and I would just the other day I was at one, and it's also like the cultural unifier, because there was all ages. There's families. There's single people.
Yeah,
there's
every
race is in there. Everybody. You can look out in the parking lot. Every type of car you could think of. There's good. Lady. There's some really nice vehicles. There's some torn up vehicles out there.
Yeah. The old lady is getting into her Prius next to the dude smoking the fucking spliff by the crown.
Exactly.
Like, let's get it, dude. This is what I'm here for. And you get that same asshole. It doesn't matter which McDonald's you go to nationwide. You don't. Yeah. Anything else? But guess what? The food fucking right 90% of the time nowadays. They've gotten a lot better about getting the food right. So I'll give them that.
For me, I always I used to get like excited whenever I'd hear about the McRib, because I like the sandwich. I'd get all hyped for it, and then I'd eat it, and then I would be like, oh yeah, it's not
as good as I thought it
like
was.
It's like I reminded myself every single time, like maybe once. It's almost like I needed that once a year reminder of it sounds good.
I don't like it. I've never liked the McRib. I just was like, oh, McRib's coming back, you know, but I can't.
You don't like it at all?
No, it tastes rubbery as fuck in my mouth.
It definitely.
And I don't forget it ever.
It tastes like a frozen and microwaved piece of meat.
You might not know what this feels like in your mouth, but women will know what it feels like in their mouths. And I don't like squishy meat in my mouth. That's not my forte. It's just nasty. So Waco is going nuts right now. Okay. There is an ex-cop named Heath Lee Minor, Maynor, M-Y-N-A-R. Spell that out for you. He just got arrested on child aggravated assault.
Okay.
He was dating this. He was an ex-cop. He's been retired for about 5 years. He's an ex-cop, and he was dating this chick, and him and this chick were toxic as fuck. Okay, they were fighting all the time, whatever. They actually got a call out in a police report of him assaulting her and choking her out and trying to drag her across the fucking floor too.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if that one came before or after the incident of what he actually did before he got charged. But this kid was 5, and it was her daughter, and he used to take this daughter on walks. Which, bitch, red flag already. No fucking way in hell. Not with my boyfriend who beats my ass. I'm not letting him take my 5-year-old around the block without me.
Yeah.
And the little girl was all of a sudden very quiet and very reserved around him. And then, of course, the mom noticed something and asked the daughter what was going on. And the daughter said that he was trying to touch her under her dress. And he was trying to be inappropriate with her. So I don't know. That is the story. Okay? Innocent until proven guilty. I have a really hard time with distinguishing that when it comes to you touching on kids. I'm on some burn in hell shit already, but that's just because that's who I am. If he did do it, I hope you get everything you were deserving to be. 1,000%. If you didn't, I hope she gets her motherfucking ass whipped for saying some shit like that.
The way you described the story, though, it doesn't seem like...
it doesn't seem made up, does
yeah.
it? No, that's my thing. And I don't like to... Because there's a lot of shit that goes on in Waco, especially with Baylor and the frat boys and stuff like that. It's always a he said, she said type of situation. And it's not to discredit the victims in any way, shape, and form if they are victims. Or to... discredit the guys if they're doing that horrible shit. You know what I mean? But when it comes to a kid that's young like that, saying something like that, it's really hard for me to believe that they're lying. It is.
Yeah, it would take like, I don't know. I don't even know what kind of details in the story included for you to be doubting the kid. It's just at the start, because that's honestly, the doubting the kids is what caused, for the longest period of time in our society, the people to just
get away with it,
brush it off, and like,
so the
if
thing
you don't want to ruin somebody's life.
The thing was that he was arrested for this horrible thing, and they immediately tried to put this man in a fucking program that would pretty much make him not be a convicted sex offender. And he would not have any charges on his record whatsoever as long as he did X, Y, and Z and all these things.
Yeah.
Right? And then once they did that, old boy beat the shit out of old girl and drug her across the floor. So homeboy literally got a really bad temper. Okay? Which a lot of cops do, especially after all the shit they've been through. I get that. But to assault the woman that you supposedly love while being on probation for an act against her daughter, does not help your case, homie.
It doesn't. What might actually help his case is the fact that if the mom really, and it might probably, in honesty, be more of an indictment on the mom than it does help his case. But if the mom really believed it, why is he still there?
Why the fuck is he still around, homie? Because he's paying bills and she has no job and she has nowhere to go, and she's up in his house. Yeah,
that's the reason.
That's what it was. That's what was stated on the thing, that she said she had nowhere to go and she had no other place to be. And that's the only reason she stayed there. But I don't give a fuck if I'm on the street. I'm not letting my kid be subject to that. And, I've been young and stupid, and I've gotten my ass beat before with grown men that I didn't understand what real love was or what was supposed to happen in relationships. And I've always fought back, but it doesn't make it right that, we were putting our hands on each other. And you knew immediately that it was toxic when it was happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, is the street better? You don't know. In Waco, yeah, the street's better. Waco is pretty good. I'm not saying we're the best, but we have really bad homeless situations in Waco. A lot of them are always, 90% of them are male and between the ages of about 30 to 50. We have an amazing women's shelter. We have an amazing child welfare section that your mom can go with you and things like that if you have kids and things like that. So, you know what I mean? If something like that were to happen to my kid and it came to light, the first thing I would do is get out of the situation, not only to protect my kid, but to protect my case.
Yeah.
If I'm going to actually go through with this and try to get this man thrown in jail, like you said, it doesn't help to stay. Yeah,
then it makes it look like you're not really that concerned to begin with, which questions why are we even here?
Yeah, it questions the whole sanctity of pressing the charges in the first place.
Yeah. You said he was already an ex-cop before any of this happened, though, right?
Yeah, he is just, he served, I don't remember if it was 18 or 20 years. It was some big number like that.
Yeah.
That he was on the force in the Waco. And then he was an ex-cop, and he was an ex-cop for 5 years so far today. Okay. Now, that doesn't say he was 5 years out when he did it. Sure. I think it was about a year and a half ago that the actual charges were when he was arrested. Okay. So they're just now getting to indictments and things like that.
And that's why it's a story.
Popping up. And this is, guys, I don't try to get as dark as I can. This one kind of hits home for me, though. When I was in high school, I wouldn't call her a friend, but we were in band together, and she was one of the other few white girls that we had at our school. And she always seemed kind of snotty-nosed to me, kind of my shit don't stink, one of those rich, preppy girls that just happened to go to Waco High. Okay. Her name was Logan Frazier, and she played the flute. And one day in 2010, we were at band practice, and she was like huddled in the corner crying, and everybody was trying to kind of figure out what's going on with her. And I remember going up to her and asking her what was wrong, and we never talked, so I didn't judge her for not talking to me in that moment either. Now that I know the story. So about 2 or 3 months later, or the end of that year, she left. And she didn't come back to our school. Which again makes sense once reading all this. So her mother, Marion Frazier, was known in Waco as the baby whisperer. Everybody loved this chick. When she was young, she was in her early 20s, and she literally got money from her parents to start her own business because she loved babies so much. And she bought a house that she kept spotless, and she made into a daycare center. And she called it Spoiled Rotten. And it was the #1 daycare in Waco for years. Okay? At least a decade.
Okay.
And it was expensive. And 90% of her clientele were doctors and lawyers and politicians and things in Waco, Texas. And she was the person that you went to when you had a baby, to the point where people would reserve spots to get into her child care facility. She had a waiting list. She would only take 10 to 12 kids at a time. And she would only take kids ages from newborns up to 3 years old.
What made her so appealing at the time? What was it that she did that was different than any other daycare?
You would give this lady her baby, and she'd never have a problem. She was like, I'd hand her the baby that was scream crying at the top of her lungs, and within 5 minutes, this baby was soothed. She just had that. And there are women out there like that. I'm like that. I don't even like kids like that. And for some reason, I have this ability to calm children down. And it's an aura. It's an energy. If you're nervous, if you're uneasy, kids sense that. And they fucking hate it.
Yeah.
And they'll cry, you know. But if you are, I got you, kids also can sense that. Babies have an amazing sense for safety. Or so we thought. So, and that part is true. Okay. She got to the point where she was running this business, and it was her and 4 other employees. So there were 5 in total. And like I said, they had anywhere from 10 to 12 kids a day in this thing, right? So, and they were all babies, or up to 3 years old was the oldest she would take. After that, they had to go into a pre-K, and she was doing white collar. So by the time the kid is 3, they're in some kind of pre-K daycare program, socializing.
The parents that she
school.
has, they're not trying to push her because they can easily switch them to. Yeah.
They got it right, but she had such a good reputation because her brother was a lawyer. Her sister went into business, so she was in this white collar life already. Yeah, she was serving her own community basically. Right, exactly. So she had this good rapport with these people already. And then in 2010, this baby died. I don't want to say the kid's name. I don't remember. I think it was Cora or something like that. That part I'm wrong on, I'm sure. This baby died. And it was found unresponsive in a crib. And at first they thought it was SIDS. And for some of y'all who don't know what that is, it's a sudden infant death syndrome, and it does happen. But then come to find out, when they went into the crib and they did some investigation, there was vomit, and you could tell by the way everything was with her face and stuff being covered that she had turned over and was vomiting when they found her. Now, they have cameras and they have timers, and at the end of the day, they could have ruled it then. Thank God they didn't. Thank God this was a white collar type of place, because any other place, blue collar or ghetto, this probably would have been ruled as that what that was. Because they had about a 10-minute lapse from the time she left checking on the baby to the time she got back, and it was already done. She performed CPR. She got in the ambulance with this baby. She was distraught, okay? I don't think that this was at all in any way a purposeful thing. So after the baby died, anytime a baby dies like that, there is an autopsy period, especially if they're in the care of someone else.
Sure.
So when they did an autopsy, they found, I'm going to mess this up, the key ingredient, which is diphenhydramine in Benadryl. And the mom was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't get that baby no Benadryl.
Yeah.
Now, going back into the case, the baby was sick, and she had been giving it Motrin, and the baby was only 5 months old. So technically she wasn't supposed to be giving that baby Motrin, but that's not what they found.
Yeah.
There was no Benadryl in that Motrin.
Yeah.
Okay. And now that they're going back and looking at it, they have also found out that the mixture of Motrin and Benadryl is actually what ended up killing the kid. having those two things in her system that small, which makes a lot of sense. But with that being said, once the woman found out that there was Benadryl in the system, of course she pressed charges. And meanwhile, while nobody knew about the Benadryl yet, all of these parents were rallying behind this woman. Okay?
Yeah,
they're saying, no, we got you. We believe you. Shit like this happens. You've been doing this for over a decade. Like,
they're believing it's a tragic accident, but you have given good care to kids for so long.
I wouldn't trust my kid with nobody else type of shit, like on multiple quotes to investigators.
Sure.
Then the Benadryl thing comes out. Everybody's like, test my fucking kid right now. And every single kid that they tested, and it wasn't just one other one, there was 5 other kids that they tested, had some kind of form. Or no, it was they all had Benadryl in their system.
Different levels of Benadryl.
But different levels of Benadryl in their system, in their kid's system.
And I'm guessing in this part of this, the parents are not the ones giving it to them in any of them.
Never had given, because you can't. There's like a big ass label on the Benadryl, on the children's Benadryl, that says you're not supposed to give a kid Benadryl until they're like 6 years old. Yeah, not 6 months.
Even
years.
Children's Benadryl is not baby Benadryl.
There's no infant Benadryl, y'all.
Yeah.
Now the cream Benadryl is still not to be used on a kid under 4 years old. And that's like, if they're having a fucking allergic rash reaction and if you're taken to the hospital, douse that baby in Benadryl and get the fuck on. But it is a cardinal sin that I almost learned the hard way myself, because they need to tell more people about this, that you do not give a baby Benadryl, especially not oral and cream.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. So anyway, they tested every single one of those kids and found out that they all had Benadryl in their system.
So this lady, a part of her calming aura was she's drugging these kids.
She's drugging these kids to make them go to sleep, man.
Damn.
Now, that was 2013 that she got indicted on that first count and got 50 years. And we thought it was over. It wasn't over. Well, now come to find out they had a second charge for one of the kids. Because they found out that there was tampering with the evidence and that she wasn't giving them liquid Benadryl. So once they did reports and they did another investigation as part of the primary investigation, they found out that there was cause to be criminal and that it wasn't just an accident. Because the first thing was just an accident. They were saying, oh shit, she didn't know no better. She played dumb. Okay. Which, after having a decade of infants, you can't play dumb, for me anyway. But they ruled it as manslaughter. But they still gave her 50 years because of the counts of how many there were. Okay? So, the second thing was, because it was child endangerment on top of that. But the second thing of it was when the inspector came, because she had to have an inspector come a lot after the first charges were brought up. Just to make sure kids weren't choking on nothing and there was no kind of thing.
So she was still running a daycare, though.
She was still running this daycare for almost a full year after the first baby died.
So in between her getting actually sentenced or charged, like getting convicted as guilty in manslaughter and getting convicted as guilty on
no, she's already in jail. She's already in jail.
Well, then how was she running the...
Wait.
That's what
Let me back up. Yeah, okay. So when she got arrested the first time, they had to let her out. Because they didn't know what charge to give her yet. Okay.
So I'm saying, in between the arrest and in between the getting convicted, and during that time,
she was still
even though there's an
daycare.
Ongoing investigation on her, she's running daycare.
She's running a daycare, dude.
Okay.
And since she's running this daycare, they have to have a bunch of different inspections because they're just trying to see. Yeah. They're just trying to make out. And this is for the daycare itself too, not just her, because they're trying to make sure somebody else didn't go do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that baby was in contact with 5 people altogether before it died. Because, they all shared responsibility over all these kids.
Sure.
So, she apparently, when the inspector started showing up and doing all these random checks and stuff, her daughter was coming home from school, which is the one that I knew. And she was like, oh, the inspector is pulling up. And her mom was like, go in there and grab all that medicine off the counter and put it in your room. So she knew what the fuck she was doing. It was wrong. She knew what the fuck she was doing. It doesn't matter what medicine it is. Why are you giving babies medicine that don't belong to you? And
not just are you doing that, you're leaving them out too.
You're leaving them out
to where and a kid can just pass by. A 2-year-old can easily still.
They can't. They could. There was, it was a cabinet, but it was a whole thing.
Okay.
There was a lot of it, but to tell your daughter
Yeah.
to go get that shit and hide it in her room. Do you know how many implications that can be?
Yeah.
You really want your daughter going to fucking jail for this? That, because in reality, that's what could have happened.
They could have...
If it would have been a cop and not an investigator and they would have checked her room, all those charges could have went on her.
It could have been, oh, so you're giving... Why does your daughter have access to these medications and giving... Like, yeah, it would have implied that the daughter is the one giving the medications.
Yes, exactly. So she had it. She knew where it was. She had a key. She got in there. She took all that shit out. She put it in her...
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
She's basically setting her daughter up as her fall guy.
Right. So then when they found that out, because you got to think about it like this, the daughter is thinking she's not doing anything wrong. She's saving her mother's business.
Yeah, I'm listening to what my mom told me.
She's thinking about this for an inspector. She's not thinking about this when she fucks up and tells a cop that was the story and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So now...
And that is what happened? She ended up... when it came out when she talked to a cop?
She did come and tell him, yeah. Okay. Or a camera saw it or something like that. But and she ended up admitting that that's what her mama told her to do. Uh-huh. And she did have the text messages and stuff from that. So thank God she saved her kid. It's safe, but anyway, so then she had her second one come up. So now she's been indicted twice over two. One of them is the murder. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is criminal endangerment of a child, which is a whole nother shit. And now there is a third one coming up now that they are bringing back to light. Because of falsifying documentation of the legalization of it, because apparently she got told to stop at some point and didn't, because she needed the money for her trials and her lawyers and shit. Okay,
so like she got told by the court to stop running the daycare.
The inspection.
Okay, but
that helped the city pick it up.
Yeah,
because originally it was the inspector.
Okay,
that told her to shut down.
So she was supposed to be shut down.
She was supposed to be shut down like halfway through it, and then kept going for like another 6 months.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
You said she has been in jail though at this point.
This whole time. But the reason that it got brought up was because of the third thing getting brought up, the business side of it, and the fact that they did an interview on her for I don't remember what it was, one of the Waco newspapers, but they did an interview on her. And the interview stated that, she's been in there for a long time. She's missed the birth of her 2 grandbabies. She's not allowed to see them, of course, because it had child shit on her charges. Yeah. And that the only thing she wants is to get out so that she'll be able to see her grandbabies and hold her grandbabies and take care of her grandbabies. What?
Yeah.
What? I'm wondering if Logan even still goes to see this bitch in jail.
Yeah.
Like... I don't know what kind of position I would be able to emotionally put myself in to even think about. Because, yeah, you love your mama, right? And, yeah, you could say that it was a tragic accident and believe her to the moon that it was a tragic accident. And guess what? It was a fucked up situation.
And you know what? Yeah, she absolutely did not mean to kill the baby.
She never meant to kill that baby.
But she was giving babies drugs that they should not have.
Right. She did fuck up.
Yeah.
And then... She also was cool with you going down for the shit.
Yeah.
And that's the part that fucks me up. Like, you saw that you were already in trouble and you were already...
Unintended consequences, too, are still consequences of your own actions. Even though you didn't mean to kill that baby, you did know you're not supposed to just be drugging babies with Benadryl to put them to sleep.
Period.
And, let that be your mode of how I take care of kids.
Yeah.
So, even maybe that one specific incident, that was an accident. That was a horrible accident.
Yeah.
But... that accident happened because of the way you are living and the way you're...
And how long were you doing that shit before this happened?
It wasn't something's going on, I have to, this one-time use or whatever. Well, that's how you were performing your child care.
Yeah, every single child.
So you're asking at that point for an accident to happen.
Well, so the other thing of it was she had...
Definitely wouldn't trust her with, saying, oh, hey, watch your grandbabies.
Yeah.
What happens?
You're not going to be alone with my grandbabies.
You clearly don't know what to do when the babies start crying.
Oh, she does know what to do.
Well, that was.
Well, the other part of it is that apparently, like I said, she wasn't giving him Benadryl syrup. She had a special secret diaper rash cream okay, so I've seen horrible diaper rashes and they are fucked up.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Benadryl can help. Okay, but don't put that shit on there all the time. You don't make a whole cream out of it and pretty much these moms were asking for this special secret diaper rash cream.
So like she was mixing regular like whatever diaper
like
rash
butt paste with Benadryl because it did soothe them.
It gives them that immediate soothing, but then yeah.
But long term, they're getting addicted to fucking Benadryl or building up a resistance to Benadryl, which is even worse.
Yeah, because then that means whenever you do take...
You need it, you don't have the same effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the worst part about it is, like, I remember we gave Becca Benadryl, and this only happened like 2 years ago. We gave her Benadryl because she was just snotty and gross and whatever, and I was like, all right, we'll give you some Benadryl and let you sleep. And she woke up like, like... worst crick of her neck she's ever had in her life.
Yeah.
And like almost like tetanus jaw. And we ended up having to take her to the damn urgent care, and she had an adverse effect to that Benadryl.
Yeah.
She was 7, not 5 months old. It's that quick. It's that easy.
Yeah, because in your case with Becca, that's not necessarily like something that all parents need to like. It's not like saying, "Oh, avoid Benadryl to kids," but like you didn't know before that she was going to have this type of reaction to the medication.
And nobody thinks that a kid can have an adverse reaction to something that is literally supposed to be for allergic reactions.
And just because it is good for, it can be helpful to most kids and good for most, just like all medication, all things, people's bodies are different.
Right.
And especially when you get down to the babies who, well, there's a reason they're not supposed to be taking it to begin with. So then, they don't have the immune system to back up. So then even if you have a kid, you combine it now, you have a kid that even as they get older, they shouldn't have had it. They shouldn't have it at the current age, and then they're getting it regularly. It's really easy to see how that type of tragedy can happen.
Well, you can also develop these different on the medical website that they bulletined or whatever that they were talking about in this case. You can actually have adverse like withdrawal effects from using Benadryl long term and then not having it.
Yeah, because like
especially not knowing about it.
You mentioned the getting addicted part. That's a very real thing too.
It's like, not even a mental addiction; it's a body addiction.
Yeah.
Like you can have like eczema, you get rashes, you can get allergic to metals and things like that other kids don't have because your body's been so susceptible to this Benadryl. Yeah,
because every day your babysitter's been, for years, every day your babysitter's been putting Benadryl
on your asshole and sitting you to bed. That's what's happening.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, a little darkness, but that's what's going on in Waco right now. We still don't have our Wiener Schnitzel. I'll let you know when we do. That's the weekly viral news-ish. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys. You got one life to live. Enjoy it while it lasts.